Hi everybody, this is something to help you with your upcoming assignment that you've got to do. Okay, this is the Photojournalism and Advertising Assignment. We've been working really hard in class lately looking at images, both photojournalism images and advertising images that represent Australia, that say something about Australia. This is what your job is. Okay, this is a paired assignment, but you are going to be marked individually. So this here now, what I'm doing now for you is a really thorough, deep understanding of what your assignment is. So you can refer back to this whenever you need to so that you don't forget. Okay. If you have any queries, of course, you can email me or you can ask me. But let's run through this now. Okay, so this is a paired assignment, all right? You're going to be working together with somebody. I suggest you pick someone that you're going to work really well with. Don't pick your best friend. Don't pick someone who perhaps doesn't work quite as hard as what you do. You need to choose somebody who's going to complement your work, okay? Obviously, your choice is up to you, but I would like you to choose someone who you're going to work really well with. So what are you going to do in pairs? You're going to spend time finding and discussing your images, okay? So together you're going to research to find the best image. You're going to help each other analyze your images. You're going to work together to produce the handout, which I'll talk about a bit later. You're also going to practice your presentation together, and you're going to give each other heaps of advice, okay, and criticism, constructive criticism. You're not going to say, oh, that was really bad, you're hopeless at this. The idea is that you're going to say, well, I really like what you did there, but I think you could improve it by doing this. Or I think you've got a really good understanding of the photo, but you haven't really told me about this part. Okay, constructive criticism. So you are going to spend a lot of your time finding images, discussing images, and helping each other work out the technical and symbolic codes of the image. That's your job to do in pairs. Alright, so you're probably wondering how you're going to get marked. Last time with our group assignment, there were a few people who were not really very happy with the marking system. That is the way that we mark group assignments when there are more than, when it is something that you actually work together to produce the entire piece, okay? That's not going to happen with this assignment. You are working together to produce the assignment here, but ultimately you're producing individual work. Really, you're only working together to formulate your ideas, get your symbolic codes, your technical codes, and work out which ones are which and how does it do that. And that's going to happen through a lot of discussion and through a lot of analysis. Okay, so you are going to be marked on how well you work together. That's your cooperation. Your presentations need to look like they fit together, okay, not like two people went off separately and just stood up on the day and said, oh yeah, we're a team. No, you need to actually make it look like you're working together. We're going to do these week 6, okay, period 4 and 5 in our double period. And I am going to give you lots of class time to work on this. Okay, so let's have a look now at the first part of the assignment. So you might be wondering how you're actually going to choose an image. Okay, let's look at what the task says. You've all got the task sheet. You have to choose either an advertisement, okay, not a commercial that you would find on TV. Okay, you're not playing a TV advertisement for your presentation here. If you are going to do an advertisement, it needs to be a print advertisement. It can be a billboard, it can be something at a bus shelter, it can be a poster, it can be a postcard, it can be from the newspaper, magazine, or a print off the internet. Okay, but it cannot be, let me stress that, it may not be a TV commercial that you would watch on telly. All right? Or, so you're either going to choose an ad or you're going to choose a photojournalism image. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about what restrictions you have there in a minute. So you can both do an ad if you want to. So you have two ads, one each, that you're going to analyze, or you can both do photos if you want. Okay, but one each. Okay, so let's just say we've got Connor and Campbell working together. Connor might say, I'm going to do a photo, and Campbell says, I'm going to do a photo too. Or Connor and Campbell might decide to both do advertisements. They're going to do one each. Alternatively, they might decide that they're going to do, Connor might say, I'm going to do an ad, and Campbell might say, okay, well, I'm going to do a photo. That's perfectly fine. One thing you need to keep in mind is that your images need to complement each other. I don't want two totally different, way out, really far removed from one another images. They've got to complement one another. Okay, they have to seem like they go hand in hand together. There are a couple of rules here, people. No inappropriate images, all right? I don't want to see ads for alcohol. I don't want to see ads for cigarettes. I don't want anything with nudity. Okay, I don't mind people at the beach, but I don't want to see people in G-strings or with tops off. Okay, you know that's not appropriate. I don't want any drug use. I don't want any foul language, either written or implied. Okay, and I don't want any gestures that are rude. Okay, I'm going to have to approve all of these images before you use them. So please do not even come to me with something that you think I'm going to say no to. Now, I said that I'd talk about the photojournalism image. They must be taken by a professional photojournalist. All right, they are not happy snaps that you took in Bali. They are not pictures uploaded to Instagram. They are not just Google images, happy snaps. They need to be professional photojournalism photographs that you can reference, which means that you can say, Rennie Biggs, who's a very famous Australian photojournalist, took this picture. Okay, that's what you need to be able to tell me, not I took this at Bali at Waterbomb Park. That is not what I want. All right, so you've chosen, or you've begun to think about your images, all right, and you need to decide on a theme. Like everything that we do in English, there's always a theme to everything. Your theme is the main idea that's coming through your images, okay? How you decide on a theme, you're going to take into consideration some things here. First of all, your images must represent Australians in some way. I'm not talking about the country, I'm not talking about Ayers Rock, I'm not talking about kangaroos, I'm not talking about that kind of thing. I'm talking about Australians, people, you, me, the people that you know, the people who make up our country. So these images have got to say something about the type of people that we are. Who are we as Australians? How does this image show that? I don't want you thinking that you can possibly capture the whole entire huge encompassing Australian identity in one photo, because you won't. It's impossible. What you need to do is you need to focus on one or two aspects, okay, the main idea that you want to talk about. So your photos or your images might talk about mateship. They might talk about the battlers. They might talk about loyalty, our relaxed lifestyle, determination, our multicultural society, courage, whatever. The list goes on and on and on. Okay, it's huge. We've looked at this in class. But both of your ads or your photos need to align to that same theme. Okay, say that again. They both need to align to that same theme. So as you know, there's two parts to this assignment. There's a written part and there is the presentation part. So let's talk about the written part first. How are you going to do this written part? Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to do lots of planning and research, which means you're going to find your images first of all. decide on your images, decide on a theme. You're going to then look at each other's images, okay, in pairs. You're going to say, you have a look at mine, I'll have a look at yours, and you're going to help each other write your notes about what the message of the image is, and what do you think your image is trying to say about Australians, okay? You're going to do this together here. You're going to help each other. Ultimately, you're going to write your own, but you're going to work together to pull the information out. So you're going to help each other find the technical and symbolic codes that are used in the image. Remember, they are the things we talked about the other day, like camera angle, rule of three, lighting, juxtaposition, colour, body language, all those different things. They're all on your task sheet too, by the way. So you're going to do lots of planning, lots of research. You're going to pull this stuff out and you're going to start drafting together in pairs. This is where you work together to help each other. Okay, let's have a look at what you do on your own. Okay, so this is the part where you're working on your own now. You've worked together in your pairs, you've decided on your photos, you've helped each other work out the message, how it's representing Australians, what the codes are. You've done all that together. You've given each other some advice and some tips, and you feel pretty confident now. So now you've discussed, you're going to start writing your response to the image, okay? You've got to answer the question. The question is, discuss how the image you have selected represents Australians and how it positions the viewer to respond. Okay, so that's pretty wordy. Let's try and sort of work out what I'm actually asking you here. So when I say discuss, I mean I want you to talk about, tell me about it, explain it, give me some information here, okay? How, which means you need to, when I say how, I want you to tell me what is it that the photographer does deliberately and what are the things that are symbolic that make you understand this representation of Australians. Okay, so you're going to talk about the codes, you're going to talk about the symbolic technical codes. You're going to tell me how it represents Australians. Then you're going to tell me how does it position the viewer to respond. Okay, the viewer, someone who's looking at this image. How will it alter their perspective of Australians? It's going to be at least a page. Okay, I'll talk about it now. So the question is asking you, how does this photo tell me something about Australians? How do I get this idea? Okay, so I want to know how the photographer's done this and why you feel this image represents Australians. What is it about this image? Is it their body language? Is it the lighting? Is it the location? What is it? You tell me, what is it about this image that depicts Australians? If you can say, here we go, this is a picture, miss, of a perfect Australian. There it is. I want to know why you feel that way. And I want to know how you think it would make people from another country view Australians. So you're not, well, some of you are initially from another country, but I want you to think, how would I feel about this image? And how would I feel about the type of people that Australians are if I came from another country? But I want you to imagine the types of places that people come from. Australia's a pretty lucky country, okay? We're pretty free, we're egalitarian, we have a lot of rights and liberties. Think about how someone from maybe a war-torn country might see Australians when they look at this image. How would someone who comes from a really, they have a lot of political unrest and a lot of social injustice feel about this image? You can probably hear that noise in the background. That's my husband doing something outside. But how would you feel about this if you didn't come from our country? Remember, think about how lucky we are. All right, so you have to make a handout as a part of this assignment or a worksheet that you can give out to the class. You've got to print these off beforehand, and you have to have enough for the class. I'm not expecting you to print off 29 worksheets, okay? I'm expecting you to print off one between two. Now, with two people up doing the presentation, that's only 27 people. Okay, so if you print off 14 handouts, that will be good. Okay, 14 is all you need there. It must be an interactive sort of handout. I don't just want a copy of what you're saying, because people don't want to just read along with you while you're speaking. All right, I want it to be something that the people can do, what the audience can do. Maybe they can label your photo. Maybe they can answer some questions, fill in some blanks as you're speaking. It's up to you how to do this. I want you to be creative, and I want you to engage the audience, but I don't want you to make it so full on and so jam-packed that the audience isn't even listening to you, okay, that they're too busy frantically trying to write down the answers to your questions. I want you to make it interactive, but just enough. And also, the handout is between both images. All right, one handout for each pair. So the handout needs to cover both photos, not one photo, one handout. One handout for two images. Okay, so the day's going to come where you've got to stand up and you've got to give your presentation. So what's the first thing you're going to do? First of all, you're going to hand out your handouts. Okay, you're going to be organised, you're going to be ready to go. And you're going to put your image up onto the screen in the classroom. Okay, we may even be able to book the lecture theatre, which would be fantastic for this, and I'll look into doing that and I'll let you know. You're going to use PowerPoint, okay, to do this, but I don't want your PowerPoint jam-packed full of words. This is about an image. The image is going to speak for itself. You can put a few words, but they need to be keywords. And you can label your codes. So you can flick the slide over and say symbolic codes, colour, and then you can have a picture of the image and you can talk about it, okay? But you need to do the speaking here. You have to reference your image. So when you have your first slide, you can have your name on it, and you're going to have your image, and you're going to have where you've got this photo from. If a photographer has taken, if a professional photographer has taken this image, which you must have, then you need to be able to tell me who that person is. Or if it is an advertisement, you need to be able to tell me who produced the ad and where you found it. Okay, you're only speaking for 3 minutes, and I will time you. I'm going to have an allocated timer, someone in the classroom who'll time for us, and you'll get marked accordingly for how long you speak for. And you've got to employ all of your good oral presentation skills, what you've learnt in class before. This is not our first presentation. You know how to give a speech. You've got to do it well. Okay, so some last key points before you get cracking on this assignment. You've got to give some context to your image when you are speaking. Okay, when I say context, remember we did that big PowerPoint on context last week. Or the week before, we talked about historical context, social context, your own personal context, and the photographer's context. Okay, you need to give me some background to this image. Where was it taken? Why was it taken? What did the photographer want to try and achieve here? You need to explain the technical and symbolic codes and how they generate meaning. If you don't, you have not done the assignment properly. Okay, you must explain the message of this image. All right, you need to say what this image is saying about Australians. You also need to say how the viewer, all right, the person viewing this advertisement or photo would be positioned to respond, which means how have they been set up? How have they been deliberately designed to see us as a people? That's what I want to know. That's what you need to tell me. I need to be convinced by you. Okay? This is your assignment. If you're unsure, you email me, you call, or you ask me at school, and we get stuck into it. Okay? We start these this week. Good luck, guys.